Hi guys, welcome to the Away Fan Chat Show as Leicester City travel to the capital to take on a team who's doing very well in Brentford. They've had a great start. Guys, as always, get involved. We want your views, we want your comments. Join the debate tonight. I'll be joined by Jatin from Bees TV. He'll be giving me an insight on what to expect from Brentford come Sunday. As always, follow us at Leicester Fan TV on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, Twitter, Snapchat. Follow us wherever you can find us at Leicester Fan TV. As always, and let's get started.
Welcome to Leicester Fan TV. Are you ready for the show? Thanks to our sponsors, ADT Taxis, Everards, Pukka Pies, Pink Car Leasing, Leicester Riders, Hollogram, The Fox's Arms, Peter's Pizzeria, Hope Against Cancer, and Newby Co estate agents. We want your views, we want your comments, so join us live. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Welcome to Leicester Fan TV, the Away Fan Chat Show. Guys, if you're watching on playback, we are live 7 days a week. The Fanzone show on Monday, WSL weekly show on Tuesday, the Away Fan Chat show tonight. After a great win for Leicester City in Moscow. If you watched the watch along and watched the game, absolutely fantastic to cover that this afternoon. A 4-3 win for the Foxes. Patson Daka, 4 goals for him, the Zambian international. So what a great game for us. But now we move to the Away Fan Chat show. Jatin will be joining me very soon. We've got the Premier League prediction show with me and Tom tomorrow. Get your predictions in for the Premier League this weekend. The pre-match show on Friday with Reedy. He'll be talking all things Leicester City ahead of Brentford. So he'll give us a Leicester City insight, team selection-wise and stuff like that. The watch-along will be moved to Sunday. Join the boys as I'll be down in London on Sunday to watch Leicester beat Brentford. So I won't be there for the watch-along, but all the other boys will. So go and get your comments in and that there. The aftermath show is before that on Sunday morning with the legendary Jamie Preston. Guys, as always, smash a like for me. Share the stream, subscribe to Leicester Fan TV if you're new tonight watching. Let's get a few good evenings in on Wednesday night. Yes, under the lights. Hi, Kane. Hi, Dara. Ross Wiener. Hello, all about the Daka man tonight. It is. Maz, hello. Oh, Daka. Evening, mate. Evening, Carlos. Evening, Philip. Mayan. Hello, Ian. 4-banger Daka. Yeah. The Wednesday night Daka show. I guess we could call it that. Brett, hello. Michael, hello. Patson, I hope he comes from Zambia. Daka played well. Daka is joint top scorer in Europe. He is. 5 goals in his last 2 games. Scored a great goal against Manchester United. Have you lads heard the new Daka chant? Waka Waka just replaced the words Waka Waka with Patson Daka at the end. He comes from Zambia. Hello from the US. Hello from the UK. Daka plays for us. See you on Sunday, Jack. See you on Sunday, Mayan. Let's invite tonight's guest in then. Jatin from Bees TV to tell us everything about the Bees ahead of Sunday's fixture. Jatin, how are you, pal? Welcome to Leicester Fan TV.
Hi, mate. I'm doing quite well today. It's a great result for you guys. I just saw the highlights on on Twitter. So yeah, to get Daka has a big shout in for Sunday now. Bloody hell, he's made a statement there.
Yeah. Obviously, it's either Vardy and Kell or Vardy and Daka ahead of the weekend. Obviously, Jamie didn't feature in today's game. He'll be well rested and energised ahead of Sunday's game against Brentford. Obviously, he's not played against you guys yet, has he, Jamie Vardy? We played you guys twice in the cup now and beat you both times, but now it's Premier League competition. Obviously, I want to wish you the very best of luck this season in the Premier League and welcome to the Premier League, Jatin.
Yeah, it's been a good start for us. Obviously, big wins against Arsenal and obviously Wolves, and West Ham is there as well. And then obviously good draws against Liverpool, and then obviously the loss to Chelsea most recently, which was pretty gutting because we did perform quite well. But yeah, it's been a good start to our tenure in the Premiership. Obviously, we're lighting up the place as I thought we would. And but I think both Leicester games, I went to the first one. The second one was behind closed doors, I think. So the first one, it was both good affairs. There was not much in them, but yeah, it's going to be an interesting one Sunday.
Yeah, you guys have come so far, haven't you, since them games? Ivan Toney's banging them in. Brian Mbuemo, he's causing a right stir in the Premier League. Them two seem to be very well drilled together, don't they, this season, them pair?
Yeah, definitely. I think they are the key to us, doing so well because they've had such a great relationship together. And Mbuemo didn't start the best when obviously Benrahma and Watkins left to Villa and West Ham, obviously, and then he didn't have the greatest of times during the start of the season. But he's formed a good relationship with Ivan Toney now, and they look very, very good together. And a lot of our goals do come from them two linking up. Obviously, Mbuemo's had his issues with hitting the woodwork. I think he's hit the woodwork more than most teams have, and just by himself. So yeah, if he finishes his chances, it'll be big help for us. But yeah, so far them two have been really, really good this season.
What's it been like then? Life in the Premier League. Obviously, you guys won the playoffs last season. What's it been like to get used to Premier League football compared to the Championship?
I definitely think the Championship was definitely much tougher because most of the times you're playing Saturday, Tuesday, and obviously to go from 46 games to 38, there's a little bit easier, but obviously the Premiership games are much, much tougher now. We've gone from Liverpool, Chelsea, obviously Arsenal, Wolves, West Ham, and there are so many tough games. But in the Championship, there are games where you can sort of get away with not being 100%. But in the Premiership, if you're not 100%, then there is no team that you can go easy on, and it's so tough. And obviously, you got to have that quality about you. But I think we're doing ourselves well right now. Obviously, it's still the aim is avoid relegation, and I think whilst we're doing quite well right now, it can go bad. I've seen teams who've started very well, and all of a sudden, a few results and things have gone downhill. So it's obviously the first is get past the 40-point mark and see what happens next season, because that's when it's most tough. Obviously, Sheffield United, look at them. Then they went from, Chris Wilder getting all the praise. Sheffield United are back to where they can be, and then all of a sudden they went and got relegated. And obviously, they're not doing the best in the Championship right now. And then obviously Leeds are back. They're going back to the top, and then all of a sudden things are going wrong there. Not sure why. I think obviously their football has been obviously as expensive as they can be, but to an expensive to say that they've been leaking goals, and obviously that's a big issue for them. So next season will be the much tougher test. But obviously, I think Brentford fans are just enjoying it right now and just enjoying seeing us back in the top flight.
Yeah, Natalie Sawyer is one of your famous fans, isn't she? Sky Sports presenter, Talk Sport presenter. She has been on the show before talking to our man Jamie Preston last time round. We played you guys in the cup. She's full of praise for Brentford and fully deserved. You guys were a cracking side. I've watched you guys this season against Chelsea, against Liverpool, against Wolverhampton, and you seem the way you attack. It's fantastic to watch, the way you pass the ball, the way you move. It's just incredible to watch. And I mean, Norwich and Watford need to take a leaf out of Thomas Frank's book. The way he plays and the way they're playing at the minute, they're going down.
Yeah, but I think that's the issue with the Championship. I think that's developing. It's just that that obviously the quality between the Championship and the Premiership is becoming so big, and obviously if you go to the Championship, your squad is so good for the Championship. Most of the time you'll just go back up. So there is a stage right now where teams are just going up and down and up and down, and obviously the money hasn't helped the situation. That if you're getting relegated from the Prem, yes, it's a bad situation, but most of the time you'll go back up the next season anyway if you get it right. And but that's just how it works now, and I think that's the quality it's done. But obviously the thing is the first season is a little bit easier because you don't know what to expect from people. Obviously Sheffield United had that they've returned for quite a while, and obviously you'll have that nuance that there's not much data to base around it, because obviously from the Championship it's hard to base what Brentford did again in the Championship against what they'll do in the Premiership because it's so new, and obviously the formation we deployed we only started that formation from, I think, February. So it's hard. There's not much games we could base it off. So it's going to be very tough. As I said, next season will be the real test. That's when Premiership teams get a know on what you do and how to. And obviously, you'll lose some players. Obviously, we'll probably lose Ivan Toney next summer for a bigger side, which I think I've come accustomed to. I think that will happen unless we have an unbelievable season this year and we get into Europe or something crazy. But that's probably not unlikely to happen. But yeah, it's obviously the first season where you get the surprises, and obviously that's what we've done to Liverpool. You know, the 3-3, Chelsea as well. Even though we lost that, we definitely gave them a few surprises. And obviously, the opening victory against Arsenal, they didn't really know what to expect, and we did very well.
Yes, your striker Ivan Toney was in Leicester's youth academy. Then we got rid of him, and then he went to Northampton Town. Northampton picked him up. He then went to Peterborough. Done fantastic at Peterborough. Scored quite a lot of goals. Brentford picked him up from Peterborough, and he's just getting better and better. Ivan Toney, he's a powerhouse, and he knows where the goal is. I mean, he was lucky enough to not score against Liverpool to win that game. VAR, it's an old different ball game, isn't it? Jatting from what you used to in the Championship with this VAR stuff.
Yeah, I think we haven't had many. I'm trying to think now. We haven't had many VAR calls go against us in terms where it's a very harsh one. Unless I'm missing something very obvious. We haven't had many. I think there was one again in the Chelsea game where Toney I think he was called offside, but there was a foul or something like that. And I think we haven't had something go against us that horribly so far this season. But obviously that will happen. There will be a game where we will have something go against us in the Premiership. But yeah, I think right now it's done us well. But obviously there will be a game that it will where VAR will either get something wrong or it will go for us.
Yeah, let's look at Brentford's games this season then. Obviously, after 8 games, you've won 3, drawn 3, and lost 2. As a Brentford fan, you'd absolutely take that one, wouldn't you? You obviously got a win over the Arsenal. So that will stick that in their pipe and smoke it, won't it, for Brentford? That'll be a win. First game of the season, what got your season rocking? I mean, last game, you played Chelsea in the Premier League, a narrow 1-0 defeat. Brentford could have won that, couldn't they, Jatting, if it wasn't for Edouard Mendy? Yeah,
it was. That's what I just mentioned before, that it was a very good performance from us. I couldn't complain about the performance. Obviously, the finishing wasn't the best, but as I said, Edouard Mendy just had one of those games where you just got to put your hand up and say, listen, you couldn't do much more. And I think you'll have games like that this season. Obviously, that would have been much more heartbreaking had that been obviously later in the season and where we would have, needed those points. But you know what, to perform like that against the champions of Europe, obviously, and Chelsea are flying right now in the league. Obviously, they're doing the stuff, they're doing the work they're doing. Obviously, they're aiming for the title, and obviously, Thomas too is doing brilliant with them. I didn't expect it from Chelsea, but they're doing very well. And obviously, to come away with a loss, obviously, it's disappointing. But listen, we did everything we can to win that. And yeah, as I said, you should put your hands up and say, not Chelsea deserve. Edouard Mendy deserved those 3 points himself, really.
The amount of saves he made, the overhead kick in the last minute, Brentford could have got a draw. What a save it was. He made Chelsea look unstoppable to keep that result. Chelsea had to work hard and really grind themselves to get that win against Brentford, because Brentford are no pushovers. It showed it this season against other teams. Liverpool never found it easy at your place either. They could have easily lost. I just feel Brentford, despite the results, they've been absolutely fantastic. Having started this season, it were a league that Brentford had to get used to very quickly. You brought in Frank the Tank, is it? He's been very good for you this season. Janssen, who used to play for Leeds, he seems to be a rock at the back. And that guy who takes you long throw-ins, Rory Delap-esque, he seems to cause quite a lot of problems for these teams as well, who's defending in the box.
Yeah, so obviously Frank Onyenka from our parent club, Midtjylland, obviously he's been very well. He's got that experience. Obviously, I think he had the most tackles or interceptions in the Champions League last year. So obviously he was someone to get in for us, and he's been very good in the midfield. Obviously, we need those 3 midfielders working very hard because they are the main sort of centers for our formation. So he works very hard. Obviously, Pontus Janssen, I think the signing that made the difference for us to come up to the Premiership. Obviously, it was very out of our sort of transfer strategy because he's much older, and he's not a hidden talent like we mostly sign. And obviously, I think he was the reason we got up because of his experience and the quality he brings. And I think even Frank said that Pontus Jansson's brought so much to the club from his experience, obviously with Leeds and obviously Malmo and wherever he's been. So it's been brilliant to have him. And obviously, it's just everyone. There's so many players that you can highlight out and just single out as brilliant players for us.
Yeah, guys, if you're watching the show or you're just joining us, smash a like. As always, share, subscribe to Leicester Fan TV. Go and check out Jatin's channel at Bees TV. Jatin, tell us all about Bees TV then, and what do you do over there?
Yeah, so Bees TV is sort of like every Premiership club, Championship club, most football clubs now. We have a fan channel. A few of us, obviously, we just try to make content. We try to, document the life of a Brentford fan. Obviously, from the Championship days, we did a lot of content. Obviously, after the Fulham defeat, obviously, and tracking how well we've done. And obviously, it's something we do in our spare time. Something we really enjoy, all of us, documenting, our life from the Championship to the Premiership. And it's just something, so fan reactions. And we're planning some more content in the future. Obviously, we all have our individual things, obviously academics and stuff like that, things we have to really focus on. So yeah, touch wood, in the future we'll have a lot more content going onto that channel, and hopefully Brentford fans and neutral fans alike can enjoy that.
Yeah, wish you the very best of luck with that, Jatin. Let's talk about the main man then, Mr. Thomas Frank. What a fantastic coach he really is. He gets the best out of every single player at Brentford, and they seem very close with a manager. And very well drilled Brentford. His style of football, like I say, hats off to Thomas Frank. He's not a big name manager, but he's getting the performances and the results on the field.
Yeah, Thomas Frank has been a part of the Brentford setup for a few years now. Even before he was an assistant manager under Dean Smith, and then obviously when Dean Smith left Villa in January, he was the one that took over interim. He didn't have the best of Januaries, obviously, towards the end of the season, but I don't think much was expected of him. But the club put faith in him, and I think there was a split in the fan base between that, because that's natural. We didn't know what Thomas Frank could bring, and obviously there were a few shaky moments up to that. But obviously then we had the season where we brought Pontus Jansson in, and then we had the front three of Watkins, Benrahma, and Mbeumo, and we looked a real good team. And obviously Frank was behind that, the formation we had, and was very good. Obviously some injuries and obviously incidences happened since then, and obviously there was a debate if Frank was the man to take us forward, and obviously that happened into the season. We went up to the Premiership. In January we lost. We didn't bring in a backup left back, and obviously there were a few injury problems. So it was an issue that we were slowly dropping down the table, and we got to a position where we were comfortably in the playoffs, which is not a good thing which is not a heart-staking thing for Brentford fans, because obviously we don't have the best record in the playoffs up until that Swansea game. I think we had lost every attempt we had in the playoffs, so that's not a great record to have. And so, yeah, the fan base has definitely been split over Thomas Frank in the past, and obviously doubting whether he can do it. But he proved us wrong at the Swansea final. He did absolutely brilliant there. Swansea didn't lay much of a glove on us, really, and I think Swansea fans could say that themselves. And this season, he stuck true to his guns, stuck true to the tactics. Obviously, he got the new players in that year from Celtic, and obviously on Yenka, he got them playing very, very well. And, he stuck to his philosophy, and at times it's worked brilliant for us right now. But obviously the real test is going to be when it comes to December, the Christmas fixtures, when things get heavy, and obviously one injury and it's going to be very, very tough. When obviously next season will be a very big test for him. As I said, I'm more nervous about next season than I am focusing on this season, because that's when teams will really start figuring out, and they'll find weaknesses in our formation. But yeah, Frank has been brilliant so far, and he's proven a lot of fans wrong, even myself. I thought maybe he wasn't the one to take us forward, and I think maybe we should have gone for someone more experienced. But yeah, he's proved us all wrong, and that's all you want from people, that you criticize the footballers, the managers, and you criticize everything because you know what it can do, and I think you want the best for your football club. But I think the best thing is when they prove you wrong, and they do that, because in the end your club's a success and they're doing it right. So
Jatin, you guys used to have BMW, didn't you? Benrahma, Mbeumo, and Ollie Watkins. How has it changed since Benrahma and Watkins has left? Obviously, Ivan Toney came in from Peterborough when Ollie Watkins left. Mbeumo stepped up his game. How does Ivan Toney and Mbeumo compare to Ollie Watkins and Ben Rama then? Do you feel you've got more better? Do you feel you've improved more? Because Ivan Toney's scoring so many goals. He was the record top scorer last season in the Championship, wasn't he, to date?
Yeah, I think it's obviously on the face value you would say yes, because when we had Benrahma, Watkins, and Mbeumo, we didn't go up. When we had Ivan Toney and Mbeumo, we went up. So that's on the face value you could say it, but it's hard because the front three of obviously BMW, one of the best front threes I've seen, obviously, and obviously seen in modern day Championship football. It was just that they were a fluid front three, and that's where I mentioned it before. And Mbeumo had that struggle where he was in a fluid front three where play, and all of a sudden he went from that to having to play balls into the box into Ivan Toney, the main man. So that's where he struggled a bit. And obviously, I think as a footballing three, and I think if I was having to say, obviously BMW was the better attacking line, and I would much rather have BMW in the Premiership than obviously them two. But it's hard to say because that front three was so brilliant, and I've seen so many games of them where they absolutely tore teams apart. Obviously, Ivan Toney single-handedly replaced most of the goal contributions they both did combined. So, listen, it's just that I've been lucky to see three great strikers, obviously, in this season. Obviously, we had Neil Maupay at first.
I think Jatin has gone due to connectivity problems. Let's see if we can get him back in. Jatin, are you there?
Yeah, I'm not sure what happened. I think I'm not sure what happened there. I think
it's all right though. So
I don't know
let's
where
move on then. Ivan Toney and Mbeumo partnership. How is that affected in the Premier League this season? And is that added to your game really well, do you feel, up front?
Is it back now? Or?
Yeah, it's back now. Yeah, it just keeps coming in and out.
Yeah, I'm not sure why. If it does one more time, I just switch internet quickly. Yes, obviously that partnership has been very crucial for us this season. It's been very crucial for us. Obviously, the link-up play they had. Obviously, I mentioned we did have their struggles of playing with one central man, the main man, obviously Ivan Toney. So he did struggle at the start, obviously, in the Championship season. But obviously, he's coming to his own now. I said his finishing needs to improve, but them two work so well. Obviously, long kicks from David Raya, up kicks on from Mbeumo. That seems to be our game plan a lot of the time, and it worked a lot. It's worked so many times because so many of our goals have come from those flick-ons from Ivan Toney to.
Oops, he's gone again. Yeah, guys, let's talk about the Mbeumo and Ivan Toney partnership then. Fantastic season, scored goals between them. I'm sure we'll get Jatin in again. Yeah, them pair combined, very good this season. And they're scoring quite a lot of goals. You've seen what they did to Wolves. You've seen what they did to Liverpool and Chelsea. They can work really well together. Let's see if Jatin has come back. Either. No, still ain't connection problems. Guys, let's move on then to Brentford versus Leicester. Sunday's kickoff in the Premier League. Leicester travel to the capital. Jamie Vardy. It's going to be a difficult one. Brentford side has won 3, drawn 3, lost 2. They're no pushovers in the Premier League this season. They seem very good. It's going to be a difficult place to go. They've beaten Arsenal there. They've nearly beaten Liverpool and nearly beaten Chelsea. I think Brentford's had a very good start to the season, beat Wolverhampton away, and been a very good, strong side. Jatin, there?
Yeah, I'm hoping this works now. I'm not sure I'm not sure what's
There we
playing up
go.
today.
So let's talk Brentford then. I've just touched on Brentford. You're playing Leicester City at the weekend. What are you expecting from the Foxes come Sunday?
There's going to be a weird test because Leicester before, obviously from last season, they've been brilliant, and obviously they've done very well, and obviously from the Premiership, infamous Premiership title, and obviously the 5,000 to 1 odds, they've done very well, and they've built on the success they've had, and they got the new training ground as well, so they built it very, very well, and they've done what any club should do, build slowly, don't inject so much money and ruin the club. They've done it very, very well, and Leicester is a club I would love to, look behind the scenes and see what exactly happens because it's a very, very brilliant model they have there. But yeah, it's going to be a tough one because you have a good attack. Obviously, Jamie Vardy is one of the ones that came from Fleetwood. Obviously, he's unexpected and he's been one of the best strikers that probably played in the Premiership from my time watching anyway, and he's been absolutely brilliant for Leicester. But you do seem to leak goals, and I think that's where we'll probably attack. Obviously, you scored 4 today, but obviously you conceded 3 as well. And you haven't had the best of defenses so far. So it's going to be one for us to exploit, the defense. Obviously, we Man United as well, 4-2. But so it's going to be a battle of defenses, whether we can withstand your attack and whether you can withstand ours. And I think that's going to be the true test. I don't think it'll be a high-scoring game, and I think there'll probably be 1 or 2 goals in it max. So, yeah, it's going to be a very interesting test. But as that most games are this season, obviously, it being at home gives us a bigger test because that's where you want your strongest games to be. You want your big games to be at home so the fans can really push the team, be the 12th man. So I think this being at home gives us the edge. But yeah, it'll be a very interesting test.
I think in the Premier League, Jatin coming up as a newly promoted side, they're the points you need at home. You need to stop picking your points at home. Maybe if you get a few draws here and there in the Premier League, as long as you get past that 40-point mark, they say, then you're safe at the end of the day. I mean, Brentford, I can't see them getting relegated this season. If anyone, Norwich and Watford, they don't seem to be adapting to the Premier League. They seem to be good enough for the Championship, but not quite good enough for the Premier League. Brentford, obviously, adapted well to life in the Premier League. I mean, they're going to push us. I mean, Ivan Toney, Mbuemo, your number 7 as well. They're going to be a handful for Leicester at the weekend. Obviously, we seem to concede quite a lot of goals. Obviously, if you've seen Vestergaard and Sionchu this season together, then, if we played them to it, the back, we'd struggle. But, I mean, Johnny Evans is back now to hold that defence together and glue it back together again. Obviously, beating Manchester United 4-2 on Saturday, keeping out the world-class player in Cristiano Ronaldo. Not many teams are going to do that this season for sure. I mean, I bet you guys are relishing that test against Man United with Cristiano Ronaldo coming to the Community Stadium.
Yeah, I think that's probably the excitement fans have. Is you're going from playing, the Pukkies and Buendias from Norwich last season to playing Ronaldo, obviously Bruno Fernandes. Then you talk about Liverpool, Sadio Mane, Mo Salah, Aguero, sadly. Kane, and you're talking about so many great players, and that's where the real tests are. And that's why I say, even though you've got less games than you play in the Championship, you're playing against some of the best players in the world right now, and it's definitely a good time to be in the Premiership right now. But obviously, it's a very tough time because now there are no teams in the Premiership this season where I think, yeah, that's an easy win, and that's where it's going to be very tough. So yeah, Man United come to us. Obviously, they could be the next top 6 team to struggle at the Brentford Community Stadium. Obviously, we've played 3 of them so far. We played Arsenal, beat them. Liverpool, we drew them. Obviously, lost to Chelsea, but that wasn't one that we should have lost. But obviously, it depends what United come in. Obviously, they're playing in a few minutes. I think they're going to play
Atalanta, yeah.
Yeah, they're playing Atalanta in the Champions League. So it depends on what United come through, because I know the United. I can remember the United that used to absolutely dominate teams and used to dominate the league. But obviously, most recently, they've not had that with obviously Fergie retiring, and obviously they've had a bit mixed form. Obviously, they went on an incredible unbeaten away streak, 28 games, but then they lost that obviously to Leicester. So it depends on what Man United come into it. Is it the Man United that we most know from the recent years, where they're inconsistent and they have the superstar talents, but not necessarily the cutting edge and tactics to come with it? Or will it be a Man United that's on form and that playing that free expansive football they can play? Because when they do, that they are still a team to fear, because in the end they still got Ronaldo, Bruno, Sancho, Rashford, Van der Beek, Pogba. They got so many talents that, you know what, they at points you don't need tactics. You just let them. It's like what Wenger used to do. Wenger used to tell the invincible side to just go and express yourself. And if Ole says that to Man United, then they can cause team serious problems. So it'll be a difficult test, that one. But yeah, I think it'll be one step at a time for us. And obviously Leicester's the big one for us right now.
Yep. You've got a Leicester side who's unbeaten in the last 2 games. Scored quite a lot of goals, Leicester. 8 goals in the last 2 games. It's very threatening, isn't it? Looking at Leicester at the minute in the last 2 games, the way they play, the way they attack, the way they've changed the game, they've pressed the reset button and gone again. It's the Leicester City that, you know, can perform to the levels and the highest levels. Obviously, we're a top 6 side. And I just think, you know, we're a very strong side, but no underestimating Brentford on Sunday, because if you take the eye off Brentford, then, you know, they can punish you in any of the departments. Chatting, team selection then. What sort of team are we looking at then from a Brentford side on Sunday?
I think it will be probably the same side. I know we've had a few injuries, but I think it will be the exact same side. I think I would be very surprised if there are any changes, if not one to the midfield. We've had some injuries, obviously. Ajer at the back, he's obviously had a few injuries, and obviously Wissa. Oh, well, Wissa doesn't start, but he's been missing for the bench. Obviously, he was key for the Liverpool game, getting us back into that, and obviously getting the winner against West Ham. So I think it'll be the same team. I don't expect there to be any changes unless there's any injuries from now till Sunday.
Yeah. What are Brentford's strengths and weaknesses then? Where can Leicester exploit Brentford?
So I think our strengths first are obviously Ivan Toney and obviously the formation. We have a very good system that works to the strengths of every single player. And I think that works brilliantly for us because then every player can play to the best. And obviously it would be a struggle if we're playing players out of position and not where to what they're comfortable is. So I think every player is comfortable with what they do. I think the weaknesses, I think from what I've seen this season, I think the times that we lose the ball in midfield is where we're key, because obviously teams can attack us, and because obviously the fullbacks fly high so much, is that if you have a 4-on-3 with our defenders, then that's how I've seen us concede a few goals this season. Obviously, it's just that where we lose the ball in midfield, and obviously that was the big issue with the Liverpool game. I felt is that obviously we performed well, but so many times we were sloppy in possession and we lost the ball, and you know they went on a counter. And obviously the West Ham game more recently, our last away game. It was those balls into the channel. So obviously when our fullbacks, obviously Canos on the right and Rico Henry on the left, when they go forward, there's so many spaces to just put a long ball into the back, and obviously you stretch that defense. That could become a very big issue. And obviously for Jamie Vardy will thrive on those long balls, and he's not a big aerial threat, but obviously I don't want to have a foot race with Jamie Vardy at all. So that's going to be the big issue, and obviously that's a weakness. But I think we've done well, and I think that's going to be the one, is make sure we don't get those long balls into Jamie Vardy or Daka or Iheanacho, whoever's going to be playing up front. It's going to be stopping those balls and being careful with that, because we don't want to expand ourselves too much. But I think, yeah, it's going to be a tough one. But I think, yeah, strengths, obviously Ivan Toney and Bremer, there are strengths. And obviously the long balls into Ivan Toney, that's probably our biggest strength so far this season. Is that David Raya has probably been one of our, if not our player of the season so far. He's been absolutely brilliant in the saves, and obviously the long balls. I think he's I think he's in the top 3 of long ball passing completion. So yeah, he's been key to our system as well, and I think that's the biggest strength. There's obviously Ivan Toney bullying those defenders and Raya kicking it long to him, and obviously Ivan Toney bringing everyone else into play.
Brentford have shown a breath of fresh air for the Premier League. Yeah, they play a good style of football, Brentford. Guys, smash a like if you're watching, if you've enjoyed the show so far and getting an insight into Sunday's opponent, which is Brentford. Subscribe if you haven't already, if you're new watching tonight. As always, chatting then, player watch. Obviously, we know the threat of Mbeumo and Ivan Toney. What other players do Leicester City need to look out for who can make the difference for Brentford on Sunday?
Also, I think Onyank in the midfield, he can make that difference. Obviously, he's got an unbelievable engine on him, and he's got a real range of ability to show for it. And I think in the defence, obviously, Pontus Jansson, again, he's been a rock for us. Obviously, he's not been the best defender. I think Ajer, from the lad we signed from Celtic, has been our best defender. But obviously, he's stepped up massively. Obviously, he'll be the defender to watch. And obviously, David Raya, because even if you do get past our defence, David Raya has been absolutely unbelievable for us this season. And as I said, his saving and obviously his distribution has been key for us. So I think in terms of that, you got Onyenka to watch in midfield, the defence, you got Raya and Pontus Jansson to watch for. So I think we got some talent all over the pitch, and obviously our wing backs, Canos and Rico Henry, have done brilliant for us. Obviously, Ivan Toney's the main threat, but we have so much talent in the key areas, which helps us a lot.
Yeah. Let's have a look. How can we play today and not tomorrow? Obviously, Lokomotiv Moscow play tomorrow. Dave, so they can't have two games on it. Moscow at home at the same time due to logistics. Jatty, then Leicester City's threat at the weekend. Obviously, we know of Jamie Vardy. Is there anyone else who you feel can threaten Brentford on Sunday?
Obviously, I think Daka, if he plays, and actually, I think the attackers are my main worry. Also, you have Tielemans as well. Obviously, he scored an absolute wonder goal against United to open that. Obviously, I think the midfield test will be hard. Obviously, Tielemans and Ndidi. I think Ndidi is probably the big one because he's one of the best DMs in the league, probably a top 5 DM. He's absolutely unreal. And I think he's the one to watch out for because if we want to play the football we can on the floor, then he's going to be the one to intercept that. So we have to be wary of him and make sure we don't let him grow into the game too much because when he does, he will stop any ball that will come into him. So I think Ndidi and Tielemans are the ones to watch. But obviously, I think the attack is where you've got to really look at because Dak has just scored 4 goals and he'll come into that game on absolute fire. And obviously, Inacho, obviously, he reignited his career a bit from obviously leaving Manchester City, and he does well. I'm not sure how many goals he's got this season. Obviously, Vardy is Vardy. He will, if you give him the space, he will have an absolute party against any defense. So, yeah, I think those are the key players to watch out. Obviously, Ndidi is the one I really love to watch, and obviously, I think the day he gets to move to a much bigger club, no offense to Leicester, obviously, I think that'll be a day to watch. But yeah, I think Ndidi and Tielemans are the one I'd keep an eye on.
Yeah, Wilf won't be playing at the weekend, Jattin, so you're all right there for midfield. He's injured.
Lucky me.
It's not something we want, but we've got Babakary Samari. I don't know if you've watched much of him this season. He seems to be filling that role pretty well. And if he can boss that midfield against Brentford, like he has done the Spartak Moscow in the Manchester United midfield, then, we should be quite sound. I mean, what are your thoughts then on Leicester, Jattin, from a Brentford perspective?
I think from a Brentford's perspective, it's, again, an interesting test. I don't take the cup games into much consideration personally because, cup games, you have some... I think the side we lost, I think the first time when it was the game at Griffin Park, our last FA Cup game there, it was such a rotated side. I think we made about 10 or 8 changes, I think. So I don't take them into much consideration, but obviously, again, it's another test for us. As I said, there's no easy games, and I think it's a chance for us to reflect on the Chelsea game, see where we went wrong, obviously, with the finishing, and obviously, I think there was sometimes where we made a little bit of an error, and obviously a sloppy passing at times. So I think, it was just trying to rectify on that and making sure that we make sure that we cut off those long balls into the channels, and just, I think it'll be an interesting test again. As I said, I really rate Leicester as a club and how they've run things, and obviously how they've grown from winning the Premiership. And I think they are very similar to a club like Brentford, where they've gone strength to strength. They've gone from a very tough time in the club's history. Obviously, Leicester going from the Championship and obviously growing back, getting up to the Premiership. Obviously, you had your owner who sadly passed away, and obviously having those hardships, and obviously getting to where you are now. So on a personal front, I really love Leicester, and it's a club I really look out for when it comes to results. But yeah, I think from a Brentford perspective, it's going to be any other game. It's going to be a very tough test, and it's going to be one where if we put our best foot forward and we play the football we know we can, that we can win it. But yeah, it'll be interesting.
Do you feel that Brentford, from a Thomas Frank perspective, look at Leicester as a side and think to themselves, we can actually be the next Leicester City and achieve what Leicester City have achieved? Do you think that's where Brentford fans look at and think, if Leicester can do it, why can't we? Do you think Leicester are a team that these teams like Brentford look at and that sort of what we've achieved in that over the years and how far we've come as a football club?
I think for Brentford, for right now, I think everyone's just trying to enjoy the moments because, it's the first time we've been in the first top flight for 70 odd years. So I think right now we're just enjoying it, and we're not getting ahead of ourselves because, as I said, next season we could go down and probably... I said to myself that this could be probably the only season I ever see us in a top flight. We could go down and never come back up in my lifetime. And it may happen, it may not. Obviously, the performance we've put in so far don't suggest that. But, anything can happen. And I think right now it's just, I think fans are trying to enjoy themselves and then look into the future. Oh, yeah, we can be the next Leicester. We can be the next big thing. We can be the next club winning the Premiership. I think we're just taking it step by step. Obviously, if we sustain ourselves as a Premiership club for years to come, then we can. I think there were some clubs that did that. Obviously, Bournemouth did that, and obviously Burnley have done that. They've sustained us as a Premiership clubs, but obviously they never pushed further than that. So I think for Brentford right now, and obviously Matthew Benham, my owner, it's just enjoying what it is right now, ticking over, make sure we get the right results, get the right players in, keeping things the exact same, and in the future we're looking to see what we can do, because I think right now we need to focus on the present, see what we can do. But obviously for the future, who knows? I think Leicester will be a model there, but obviously we have different transfer policies and obviously different incomes, and I think right now it's just sustaining ourselves as a Premiership club and making sure we're not going to be a yo-yo club like some clubs are, where they just go up and down. And as much as that would be fun for one season, obviously the Championship will be winning so many games, winning playoffs, winning the league, Championship, going runners up. It wouldn't be as fun the next season where we're getting battered everywhere, and for fans that's just not as fun. So I think right now we're just trying to sustain ourselves as a Premiership club, obviously get past this season, get past a very tough next season, and see where we are then.
Yeah. Jatin, what's the predictions then for Brentford this season?
For the game or just for a season in general?
The predictions for you in general this season.
So I think I said to myself that it depended on our first 2-3 games and how I see it perform. By the way we performed, I think we'll end up in a 9th or 8th position, which is obviously brilliant for a return to the Premiership. Obviously, at the start of the season, I was a little less optimistic. I was saying 14th, 15th will be fine there. I think, but yeah, I think for this season, 8th or 9th, I think we'll be comfortable there. Obviously, the Christmas is where the big one is, because that's where you'll really, really test your squad, and that's where you have to pick up most of your points. And I think, so 8th or 9th for this season, and I think it'll be a very big season. I think every game we're going into it as a new team, new surprise, and I think there hasn't been a game this season yet where we've been overly disappointing to show me any fear of being relegated and things. So 8th or 9th, I think, with how we're performing right now, but obviously that could change massively if we get 1 or 2 injuries.
Yeah. Last question then, score prediction.
See, we haven't had we've had I thought it could be 0-0. I at first, when I looked at the fixtures, I thought, I'll take a 0-0 at Leicester at home. But I thought, how we've performed, obviously you'll have Johnny Evans come back in, but it's going to be, it won't be a prime Johnny Evans, someone that's been match fit for a lot. So I think it'll be a 1-1 draw. I think a draw will take from that, and it obviously depends on how the game goes, but I think it'll end in 1-1 this Sunday.
Yeah, guys, get your score predictions in. Jatin, tell everybody where they can find you then, from a neutral fan's perspective.
Yeah, if you want to follow us on Bees TV, I'm sure we'll do some coverage after the game on Sunday and have a chat about that. You can find us on Bees TV. Obviously, if you want to follow me on Twitter, that's where I do a lot of these appearances for Bees TV on a lot of the away fan channels. So if you follow my Twitter, that is just my name, full name on. You can see the tag on your screen right now. If you want to follow me on Twitter, that's where I sort of publicize where I'm going to be watching. So obviously I was on here today, and obviously thanks for having me on. And I'll be on a lot of the away fan channels this season, probably doing coverage for them. So yeah, it's where you can mostly find me.
Yeah, okay, Jatin, thank you so much for coming on tonight, as always. You've been a great guest, and good luck after Sunday's game.
Yeah,
and good luck for the rest of the season.
Yeah, nice one, mate. Cheers.
Right, cheers, mate. That was Jatin from Bees TV, does all things Brentford. So if you want to know everything about Brentford, go over to Bees TV and go and check it out. Guys, as always, please like, share, subscribe to Leicester Fan TV. Smash that subscribe button. It'd be really appreciated. We're not far off 8K. So if you could subscribe to Leicester Fan TV, it'd be much appreciated. Smash a like if you're watching on Facebook and YouTube. It'd be much appreciated as always. Really hope you've enjoyed the show. 2 shows in one day, eh? A watch along where we won 4-3 away at Spartak Moscow. Goals from Patson Daka. Reedy, we'll be back with that to talk all things Leicester City and look back at the Spartak Moscow game and what a hell of a night it was. in Moscow. Patson Daka, the Zambian magician, scores 4 goals, and to score 5 goals in 2 games is just incredible. He's only going to get better, Patson Daka, and what a player he is. Right then, let's have a look what's coming up on Leicester Fan TV for the rest of the week. So we've got the Premier League prediction show tomorrow, 7:30, with me and Tom and Eve from her game 2. We've got the pre-match show with Reedy talking all things Leicester ahead of Brentford, and he'll also talk about the Europa League game against Spartak Moscow. The watch-along will be moved to Sunday afternoon, so join Phil and the boys in the studio to watch that. They'll take you through before kick-off, during the game, and after the game. So get your comments in, get your views into him. I'll be at Brentford on Sunday. If you see me, come and say hello. I don't bite, so don't worry. The aftermath show is before that in the morning. Jamie will be back to talk all things Leicester City. So join in for that. Thank you so much to all the sponsors: ADT, Hollogram, Tiger, Pizzeria, Pukka Pies, Car Leasing, Leicester Riders, the Fox's Arms, Newby Co, and Hope Against Cancer. Thank you for all the guys that sponsor Leicester Fan TV. Right, guys. And you are back tomorrow, of course. You'll only miss me for like 24 hours, so it's all right. I'll see you guys tomorrow for the Premier League predictions show. Before I go, smash a like, share, subscribe if you haven't already. It'd be much appreciated. Thank you, mate. Really hope you've enjoyed the show tonight. Hope you got a really good insight into Brentford. But yeah, this is Jack from Leicester Fan TV. Going to take a well-earned rest now. Go and put my feet up and watch a bit of telly. Why not? Goodbye. See you tomorrow night at 7:30 for the Premier League predictions show. Good night, everyone. Enjoy the rest of your evening. And come on, Leicester. Patson Daka. Patson Daka. Bye-bye for now.
Thanks for watching Leicester Fan TV. Thanks to our sponsors, ADT Taxis, Everards, Pukka Pies, Car Leasing, Leicester Riders, Hollogram, The Fox's Arms, Peter's Pizzeria, Hope Against Cancer, and Newby Co estate agents. Make sure to follow us on all of our social channels at Leicester Fan TV. Visit our website, leicesterfantv.com.